Afternoon, guys. Hope everybody is doing well. I say afternoon, it's actually the evening, but I'll say good morning as well, just in case you're watching this at a different time. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, just presenting straight to camera. I've been on the road quite a bit, looking at different properties. Got a couple more coming for you this coming weekend. And I've also started a new job. Yes, an actual job. Not everybody who works in property has the luxury of being able to do it all the time. You may have noticed that I changed the name to JP Property and Mortgages. So I'm actually a mortgage advisor now. Been qualified for probably 4 years, but never really done anything with it. Obviously, it's quite a help when it comes to property to have an understanding of the background of financial services and an understanding of the property market and leveraging money, etc. But I'm actually working full-time as a mortgage advisor as well as doing this property businesses and investments that I do. So there's going to be some videos coming around mortgages as well, if that piques your interest. If it doesn't, no drama, just don't watch them. The topic of today's video is going to be if you should buy property with your mates or not. Now, I'm sort of conflicted on this one. The advice I was always given as a young man was, if you're going to do something, do it by yourself. You can't rely on anybody else, and you ruin a good friendship if you go in and try and do a business with someone else. And in a sense, that's true, but it's also very skeptical approach, if you like. So a bit of background about me. I've invested on my own since 2014, and I've invested with a partner, a friend, long-term friend, since 2018, 19. But it wasn't a streamlined process getting to that point. So we started off, there were going to be 3 of us, then it came to 4, and then we scaled it back down to 2. And on reflection, I think that was a really sensible approach to take. You could have loads of mates. You know, if you're on a football team, rugby team, whatever it is, you could have loads of mates. Everyone will buy you a beer when you go in the pub, but business is an absolutely, totally different kettle of fish. You need to have utmost trust between you. There's going to be a lot of money issues. There's going to be a lot of divided opinions. And if you are not 100% with this person, and I actually take this across as well as to friends with family as well. The quickest way to ruin a good relationship with a friend or family member is to start a business with them if you don't know what you're doing. Let's take a look at why my friend and I decided to invest together and some of the surrounding information on that. So firstly, we both work in separate fields, separate jobs. We don't see each other a lot. We do speak every day on the phone. And I think that helps. I think if your business is your primary focus and you've got a friend who you knew before, maybe you went to uni with them, maybe you went to school with them, maybe you worked with them for a while, and then you just starting a business together, and that's both of your sole focus, then things can get pretty heated. With money comes ego, comes greed. If all of your focus is in that one place and you start to disagree on stuff, there will potentially be a power struggle, and that's definitely not what you want. So I think it helps, especially in our relationship, speaking from my own experiences, obviously, that we've both got focuses outside of our property business together. He actually works in property. I now work in the property sector, I suppose. Mortgages, would you call that? Financial services, it's property, isn't it? So, and it's a nice side hustle for us. It brings in some decent income. It's quite a passion project. We're both really into property, what it can do. It allows us to be quite creative with where we want to go. If we have disagreements, we can talk it out. We've been friends for, how old am I now? 32, probably 20 years, just shy of 20 years. So over that time, you grow up a lot. and we have our disagreements, we go back and forth, but I think having a friendship and a relationship robust enough that you can really go hard when you're not in agreement with something is very important. um, my partner, for example, my fiance, I would not be going into a property business with her. I love her to bits, but it's very different. And if you're going to bring that stuff home with you as well, as I mentioned, my business partner and I, we don't see each other that often, and that works really well because we can talk about it on the phone, but we can relax when we're at home. We can constantly on WhatsApp sending each other stuff, but there is that level of detachment. I think being in business with your wife, girlfriend, husband, whoever it is very, very tricky. There's some great success stories. I know that the Duggards, they're property developers, investors based in South Wales. They're absolutely smashing it. Great social media presence for them. Big up you guys. And they seem to be doing really well. But personally, it's not something I could do. And I think they are probably the exception rather than the rule when it comes to working together full time in business. So yeah, that's my sort of thoughts on it, really. If you think I've got 10 grand, my mate's got 10 grand, oh, he's my best mate, I love him, let's go and buy a house together. Really, really, you need to stress test that relationship first. Maybe start doing a smaller side hustle together, anything small time, but where you're investing a little bit of money and you can have those fallings out, or have those disagreements, should I say, in a controlled environment, is going to be a really good learning curve for you. Definitely, a house is a big commitment, especially if you're buying it with a mortgage, especially if you're buying it geographically further away. We tend to focus all of our investments within a sort of 45-minute, 1 hour radius from where we both live. So if there's any drama, any emergency, we can get there and be hands-on, and we can meet each other as well. If you're based in London and you think, all right, guys, we're earning a good bit of dollar, let's go and invest in Yorkshire because it's nice and cheap up there, that freaks me out. Stuff like that freaks me out. It's just too far out of my comfort zone to do that. Again, not saying it can't be done, but I'd just be very, very wary. Always try and do things in a controlled environment first, before you look into really put big bucks in and loads of time. Also, let me caveat this with, there is a difference between a business partner and an investor. There are loads of people who use other people's money to invest. That's absolutely fine. It's no different really to using a bank or a bridging loan. But you're the one making the decisions in those instances. It's a lot different. If someone gives you 100 grand, 50 grand and says, you can have this for 12 months, pay me back 1% a month or whatever it might be, hands off, you're in control then. Yes, it's a big responsibility, absolutely, but you're in control of that. Whereas if they came and said, right, I'm going to give you 50 grand, but we'll make the decisions together, the dynamic soon changes. And that sort of brings me on to my final point is, if you're going to invest with someone, make sure that you're both bringing something to the table. That I think is really important. Taking it back to my own example, I can bring the sort of hands-on practical application, whereas my business partner is much more, without giving it away what he does, but he's much more understanding of the process of buying property, how everything works. He's got some fantastic contacts as well. And so each brings to the table something that the other hasn't got. And I think that works nicely. If you're both builders and then one of you's bringing a lot, to the relationship, and the other isn't so much, then the one who's bringing a lot might just say, well, balls to you, I'll just go and do it by myself. And very similar, if one person's just bringing money and the other person's doing all the hard work, then it can be quite easy to begrudge that relationship. So I think it's important that you stress test it and you both bring something to the table. All right, guys, hope that's a bit of food for thought for you. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos as we go into the new year. You may be able to tell that I've moved house in the most magnolia house ever. So I'll do a little tour of that on the next video, and do a little roundup of the year, both personally and business wise, before the 1st of January. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks again for all your support, subscriptions, likes, comments. Try and go easy on me when I do the next house tour, because some of the abuse I got from my last house, it was soul destroying. Brilliant. Take care, guys. Really appreciate it. Bye-bye.